Hey, this is Justin with DayTradeTheMarkets.com on Friday, May 2nd, and I wanted to take a look at the gold market today. I know I typically tend to look at the ES or the E-mini S&P, which is the market I guess I trade the most, but I also do a little bit of trading in crude and gold, as well as some others, but those are probably my second and third traded markets, and so I thought I would just take a look at gold. Thought it was an interesting day today, and we can talk about a couple of educational points as well. One would be kind of dealing with what we call news spikes, and two, dealing with what I put in quotes what should happen, and then when that doesn't happen. So now you can react to that. So and again, this is a 2-minute chart of gold. You can trade this on any exchange traded market that you might trade. So it doesn't really matter any time frame. The same principles apply. We're trying to understand what's going on beneath the surface of the market so that we can make better trading decisions and put the market in better context. That's essentially what we're looking for. So, today, this morning around 8:30, we had the employment report, and you can see we had a pretty good news spike. And you'll also see, news spikes like that, say on an FOMC meeting in the ES, or a crude report on a Wednesday morning in oil, whatever the case may be. But whenever we get a big news reaction like that, what we tend to like to do is use that as kind of a staging area, or kind of a foundation to see what can happen. Until this market works itself out toward the high or toward the low of this box, we want to kind of let that play itself out, okay? Or at least know that anything beyond that would be pretty aggressive. So the first test we have at the high of this news spike is this level 3 buying aggression bar, okay? And so when this happens on the high of the day, we'd always want to see, do we get some follow through or do we get some rejection? And so whenever we get a level 3 bar like this on the high or low of the day, we definitely want to monitor the low of this bar. That's what we would expect to be support, okay? And you can see that we, went in here and actually had a bit of a we took off about $2 or so, which is a pretty good move in gold, but it certainly didn't go and make new highs. It didn't take out the high of that bar, and instead we started to get some bars below this. So we were actually doing a live member session today, and I was talking about this as it happened, so I thought it was kind of interesting, and I thought I would just point it out as well for everyone. But when that happens, we get what, at least at the time to me, looked to be rejection of this test of the highs of this news spike. So again, news spike here. With this bar, our first test is an attempted move higher, which to me looks like it's getting rejected at the time. I said, getting short somewhere in here, what we call our level 3 retracement trade, is a pretty good opportunity. And my expectation, at least, would be that this could be the high of the day. 7 or so out of 10 times, this is going to be the high of the day, a rejection, a failure of a level 3 bar on the high of the day. And I would expect we're going to go test these lows, okay? Now you can see we did get it here, and we sold off another $2 as well, so you don't get hurt no matter what. But it didn't do that. It didn't do what I say, quote, it should have done. But that's okay, because that's giving you good information as well. And that's, as a trader, you have to be nimble mentally to try to understand, okay, we're always talking about, let's ask ourselves, what should this market do, in quotes, and then how good of a job is it doing at that? Well, this market, at least in my eyes, should have tried to sell off. It didn't do that. Okay, well, that's also giving us good information. Luckily, you're not going to get hurt if you got short there, because it did sell off decently at least in gold standards. And then you can see we break out here. And finally, we get the level 2 bar, a high velocity move, and a couple level 3 bars, a couple more level 3 bars, and this thing takes off. I mean, basically, this is about a $2,000 move just on one contract. So, and speaking of gold and crude and those types of markets, that's kind of the double-edged sword that goes with trading these types of markets. The ES is kind of a cruise ship, kind of plodding along, where the gold and crude are more like a speedboat. So with that comes a lot of variance and some volatility, and you need to lower your position size. But when you do get on a move, it can be a really profitable move. So again, kind of the double-edged sword there with a market like gold. But in this case, when this broke out, you've got a couple of options. Again, it's telling us it should have, quote, should have sold off. It didn't. Okay, that's good information. And sometimes when a market doesn't do what you expect it to do, those can be some of the best opportunities. Okay, so just wanted to look at that. And so when this happens, you have a couple of options. If you're a more aggressive trader, you certainly can just hop on board with a market order on the breakout like that. Okay, and it's a decent opportunity, again, because we had rejection, but then the rejection failed. So now we're testing it again. This thing probably will pop. Another option would be one of my favorite trades, and this is what I would be looking to do typically, is you see where these two level 3 bars overlap. It's kind of what I call a sweet spot. Unfortunately, in this case, the market just kept going. It didn't come down and test in there. So we had another one here, another level 3 bar there. This isn't the exact, but you can make the case this is kind of the same idea of a sweet spot where they kind of converge, and there's an opportunity in here potentially, or it just keeps on going and going. There's another one up here where the 3 in a row, so this is kind of where they overlap, and actually we did test that later in the day. But the one thing you'd want to know by the time that finally did get tested was that if you look at this this entire move up here, let me move some of this out of here. If you look at this entire move up, a lot of buying bars, level 2, level 3, level 3, level 3, level 3, 2s, level 3s. This is our first, since this buying wave started, this $2,000 on one contract buying move started, this is our first selling structure at all. So what is that telling us? It's telling us if we are long, we might want to think about getting out and try to maximize our profit, for one. Number two, it's not telling us this thing's going to go make new lows, but it is telling us it's our first sign of any selling coming in. Prices finally auctioned high enough to possibly attract some selling or some profit taking, and we'd want to be on alert for that. And this market may be going into more of a two-sided or a consolidating market, as opposed to, which it did the rest of the day, as opposed to, just a straight vertical up market. Okay, so that's giving us information as well on there, where you're actually seeing under the surface, even though it's on the high of the day, you're seeing some true selling come into the market. So again, the point being here, just wanted to look at a different market than normal, talk about dealing with news spikes, and again, that comes into play with like an FOMC meeting. You just want to let this kind of be the reference area, the short-term reference area, and see what that market does. Let it tell you, rather than guessing. Let it tell you what it's trying to do. And then what I thought it was trying to do was fail on the move higher. It didn't really come through, although you didn't get hurt. And when that, the failure of the failure, if you will, can lead to some pretty good opportunity. So hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, that's the idea that we're trying to talk about always, is just trying to make sense of what's the story the market's telling us, what's the narrative the market's telling us, and how do we use the evidence that we have, some good software, to make better sense of that narrative and then take advantage of it. So that's the name of the game, really. So let us know if you have any questions on that, and we'll talk soon. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.